best player in the game right now. That's kind of lit.
The Dynasty duo.
You had no idea you were colorblind?
It's the worst player in COD history at the pro level. Is that even legal?
Too slightly ultra.
I mean, who's the most willing out of all of us to take a man's life? Because I think it's me. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Best of 3 Call of Duty Esports podcast. I'm your host, Josh. SalvationsElite. To my right is Bash _ Bo3 Sam, and to our farthest right, per usual, is none other than the Rex Shady Nero. And boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, today we have a spicy one because we're doing a little bit of a Q&A. We're gonna be breaking down ROSTERMANIA, and I've already seen some of the questions from the Q&A, and let me tell you, it's going to get hot. It's going to get spicy, let alone the discussions about the ROSTERMANIA and teams trialing new players and a lot more. So before we get any of that news and everything else, I gotta ask, boys, what is going on?
Well, Josh, I'm feeling like a rambunctious lamb strolling through the prairie. And I've stumbled across a log, and it's filled with some sticky, delectable yellow gunk, and I'm just not quite sure what it is, but I decide I'm rubbing myself against it. My wool might like this. And so I go and I rub against it, and I start getting real sticky, and I get stuck in there. And all of a sudden, on the northeastern corner of the prairie, I hear I'm like, what is that? What is that? Bad. And all of a sudden, I hear a something's knocking. I'm like, what's this is bad. And all of a sudden, a Bigfoot comes strolling through the forest that's on the edge of this prairie, and he's coming after me. And he comes up to me. I'm like, oh, I am a goner for sure. And then he grabs me, and he just yanks me out and honestly rips some of my skin. And it really hurt. But then he just set me down and let me go. And it was honestly the strangest, most surreal thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Man. Well, I'm glad you're safe and sound, Rex.
100%.
I mean, nothing's worse than when you're the sheep in the prairie getting stuck in honey. But Sam, how you doing?
Doing good. On today's episode of What Did Your Kids Do with Your Gaming Stuff?
Oh, no.
Can you see that in the camera?
Bro, what the? Yeah, I can see that.
That is a sidewalk chalk that won't come off.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought it was going to be worse. Honestly.
I thought it was puke.
Yeah, I mean, that's not too bad.
Here's the thing. It could be. My daughter said it was sidewalk chalk, but it could be anything.
Could be covering up. Yeah.
It could be yogurt again.
You should lick it, test, see what it is.
Oh, that's risky.
I'm gonna pass on that one.
Yeah, that's a risk I'm not willing to take.
I think I still have some leftover yogurt on my keyboard from last time. So
yeah, it's going well
doing good,
over at the Bash household.
Doing great.
Well, and not as many problems for me as apparently for you guys going on like recently, because doing all right over here. But we have a lot to talk about today, obviously. And, you can watch on YouTube. You can listen on Apple Podcasts. You can listen on Spotify. You can drop those comments on YouTube, which we always appreciate, helps the show. And you can drop those 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, also helps the show. Today, actually, we have some kind folks who dropped a review in the comments on YouTube. And so today we're going to go through them. Graham Olson says, YouTube review, I don't got Apple Podcasts, 5 stars, all because Bash is just so darn cute.
Oh.
Nah, actually, I just enjoy the content. You three have such a good chemistry, and it's nice that you all are bringing something different to the table. I also love the traditions of the show, as well as Josh, and even the what you watch in segments as well. All around solid podcast. I'm wanted in Arkansas for vehicular manslaughter. Thanks for your entertainment on Tuesdays.
Holy crap.
Yes.
Shout out to 5-star review, Graham Olson. That's an elite one right there.
Just a standard review.
I love how it was just like just casually thrown.
I'm also wanted for vehicular manslaughter.
Really good. And then we also have a review from Noble as well. I'm double dipping today because we just had some fire ones. He says, review, don't have Apple Podcasts. I'm Dorm from Newcastle in England. Been listening since the start of Modern Warfare. You guys literally brought me back into the COD scene. I stopped playing COD competitively before the jetpack era, but came back around World War II. The comedy insight is unreal on the show. Also, big up Rex Shady Nero, the GOAT. Keep it up.
Hey,
let's go. Dom from Newcastle,
The actual
England.
goat. Let's go.
The GOAT. Things you love to see. But we appreciate the reviews, guys. And also, we always appreciate all the support and everything else. And if I ever missed any of your reviews anywhere, we're sorry about that. But
Sorry.
thanks for the reviews. Long story short. Also, of course, if you guys are new around here, we have a new sponsor partnership on the podcast, PrizePicks.
Yes.
And so it's a daily fantasy app that you can have some fun playing overs and unders with Call of Duty, or actually sports all around the globe. You can do it for like NBA or NHL or MLB or PGA or soccer or, you know, MMA or whatever it is, and do overs and unders on like whether it's points or in Call of Duty it's kills or whatever it is in that sport. You can have some fun with it, and it's been a blast. So, you know, maybe right now NBA playoffs, and since there's not some Call of Duty this weekend, well, not, you know, pro, there's some Warzone, but you know, maybe have some fun playing some NBA plays or something along those lines.
League
It's always
of
a good time.
Legends, CSGO.
League of Legends. That's right. CSGO as well. They got a lot of options over there. They even have cricket. I mean, they got it all.
Dude, let's go. Just
They
You
do
know.
have cricket. That's kind of cool.
So, you know, my favorite cricket play this weekend is Quinton Day. I can't even read the rest of
oh
his
my
name.
gosh, come on,
Quinton Daycock.
Oh, let's go.
The fact that I literally
That's the
just
over,
clicked
bro.
on one.
That's the over.
Quinton Daycock. That's the over. 23 and a half runs for
100%.
Quinton Daycock.
Dang.
Without a
They
doubt.
need to have
absolute
a
unit.
I don't even know what to call it, like the combo pick of like across different like games.
Yes.
And,
Oh yeah, you can go
platforms.
across different games. So you can pick Quinton Daycock and Trey Young, and just go over under on both of them, and then just see what happens. So it's like you can really have some fun. And I'm pretty invested in that in Quinton's career. So really excited to see what he pulls off this weekend. And so long story short, use code BO3POD on PrizePicks to support us, and they'll double your initial deposit. Say you want to put up to $100. If you put $100 in, you get an extra $100. That's pretty lit.
That's nice.
And have some fun playing some daily fantasy. So we appreciate anyone who uses the code. Helps us out.
Yes, thank you.
100%.
And also shout out for our winner of the Stage 2 giveaway for merch, Huff Puff on Twitter, baby. So he used the code BO3 pod on PrizePicks, and then made picks, and then tweeted us his picks with the hashtag BO3picks.
Nice job. Let's go. Let's go.
And he
I'm glad
won.
you're able to solve that puzzle.
Yes, exactly. And he won CDL merch. And so I DM'd him today. He's got the dub. Things you love to see. So shout out Huff Puff for making it the plays, and obviously Huff Puff's
Let's go,
the goat.
Huff Puff.
So things you love to
Nice.
see.
100%.
Long story short, we have a lot to talk about this weekend, and we're going to have some fire discussions. So without further ado, let's get right in to the news of the week. Let's go.
The Call of Duty News of the Week.
News here. News here. Come get your Call of Duty news.
Oh, hello.
All-Star Weekend pushed to the end of the year. So we're no longer playing.
Yeah,
it.
we actually have some news to catch up on, by the way, since we didn't have an episode. Oh, we didn't even mention this. So we didn't have an episode last week. So we do have a little bit of the news to catch up on. So, maybe a little bit of old news, but yeah, we get it. But anyway, continue.
We're here to fill you in, but the All-Star Weekend is going to be pushed to the end of the year at the end of the season instead of mid-season like it was originally planned. Honestly, I'm not against that idea. I think it's a good idea.
It should have been at the end of the year the whole time.
Yeah,
There's so
because then
much
you can
dead air.
really vibe with who are really the best players instead of the meta just changing on you.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's just so much dead time past champs.
Staples.
There's 2 straight months. You have staples everywhere now.
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense to throw at the end of the year, so why not? But yeah, sure. Start off with the slow news. We'll get into the spicy news here in a second.
Okay, so the CDL Warzone tournament is this weekend,
I think you say CDL in quotes.
In quotes.
Sunday at noon Eastern. The reason we say it in quotes
CDL.
is because most pros backed out. I don't even know if any pros are playing in it.
I'm not sure yet which ones have confirmed. I don't know. But as of recording this, it seems like a lot of them have backed out.
Most
And
of them have
according to
backed out.
Octane.
I know
Yeah.
NYSL team was Aiden, Gorgo Knight, and some other people.
Yeah, and I saw Wuskin and other things, those types of people for Irrated for LA Thieves. And
Yeah.
so
That's so rep, like, dude. And you know the reason is because no one wanted to get body slammed on camera.
Probably.
You know?
I mean, none of them have played it because it's not the same movement and gun mechanics. So it's like most of the pros haven't played it since Vanguard launched.
I guess
That's what
like,
would make it
isn't
more
that kind of fun? You know?
Yes,
It's like,
no, 100% Sam. I'm with Sam on that for sure. I
don't
want to
know.
see the people who haven't really played it, like pro COD players playing Warzone, they haven't really played it, and have them like their actual teams go and play in it.
Yeah, I actually don't know if has OpTic announced their roster because is Scump playing? Considering he is a world of Warzone champion, but
It'll
I
be
don't
like Scump and then Twitch streamer.
yeah, I mean more than likely, like that's the problem.
Nothing against Twitch streamers, but
not ideal.
I see you play a tournament every other day, so
Yeah, 100%.
So,
Not much else to say there.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's part of it is like, where do you draw the line between like growing the scene and having fun versus like competitive play and that kind of thing? You know, like, I'm
in
sure
my
if it's
opinion,
for the CDL, you want to see pros. I don't care about these other people.
I'm surprised the CDL isn't like regulating it. Like, I'm surprised that you don't have to have at least have two of your starters on the Warzone team. That seems
it is
surprising.
Weird. Like you'd assume that, yeah, with like the contract, like they're required at least someone has to go,
at least one of
at
them.
least one person, because like you're calling it a CDL tournament. So like,
and if teams literally don't have one CDL pro,
doesn't make any sense.
Or even some of them don't even have a substitute.
No,
like
it's just people are playing on teams. It's like, let's sign a Warzone pro for a day and call it good. It's like, okay,
yeah, that feels pretty lame to me. So that definitely, I was at least a little bit interested in it. Like before these announcements, like if it was going to be all COD pros, I assumed it wasn't going to be all COD pros, but like at least like half COD pros, I was like, I'd be okay. I'm somewhat interested, but now my interest is pretty low.
Yeah.
Yeah, but some people's thing is Warzone, so.
For sure. Hopefully it helps bring some eyes to the scene. Why not?
Sure. So some game mode map news. Pro teams have been testing out Berlin Control. Arcities and Shotzzy say that they really like it. Will it matter? No.
It's
because
so
defense always wins.
It's so weird to me because, I mean, maybe it has to do with ticks, but like, why weren't we playing this originally if it's good? Like,
dude, here's the thing with the pro scene. Like, they never, I feel like none of them actually know what's good or not. Like, I think a lot of people will like, they'll watch a Sim video just to get Sims class and they'll all just kind of run that. But then they're all surprised when like the Volk is just thrown out by Spart. And they're like, whoa, what is this? We got a GA this. Like, how have none of you explored the potential of this Volk? How have these things not been explored?
I mean, it's because they agree on a meta collectively. And
I know, but I think that's dumb. Like, that's just eliminating such a big part of the game. It's just, it comes back down to the GA talk.
Yeah, classic GA talk.
It just seems kind of lazy, but that's just.
I mean, I get the point of view for sure. Like, it's not the best look ever to, bring in, allow the Volk for one tournament, then GA it basically 2 weeks later.
Yeah, they should definitely keep it in. And honestly, the Volk's not even that good in my opinion.
I mean, I would say it's pretty dang good.
I'll always use the Automaton over the Volk. I feel like the Volk is so niche.
I think the Volk, I mean, it's a true flex gun, but in a pro's hands who don't miss bullets, it's like the gun's insane. I mean, it's some of the kills that I've seen from clips is about as good as a gun as I've seen ever.
It's definitely good close range. Like if it's a true flex gun, really.
Well, the thing too is that like the strafe is so nasty on it too,
and the head shot multiplier at long range is so good.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's like we should GA it, but it definitely is a pretty nice gun.
I think if you don't GA it, it becomes the meta gun. Like it's a replaces.
I think it's a true flex gun.
It replaces the Automaton if
I disagree.
Oh, except for maybe only on Gavutu.
Yeah,
maybe
Gavutu
only Gavutu.
Berlin, Gavutu,
maybe.
Like, I don't know. Maybe Bocage for sure. I could see.
Oh,
but But I wouldn't mind like the 2 MP40, one Volk, one automaton setup though. You know, be kind of fun.
I don't think that would happen though. I think you'd have 2
Don't think
Volks
so?
on most maps.
Why?
I mean,
two
like
Volks?
Arshady said. I mean, at least Arshady said Volk might be the best gun he's ever used in any game ever.
I don't know, man.
Any
I don't
game
know. My
ever.
experience with it,
Any COD game.
I much prefer the automaton, but that's me.
Has he never played Modern Warfare 2 with ACR?
Mhm.
I'm sure he's
ACR is
talking in a
legendary.
scrim setting. No, but yeah, it is interesting. So I don't know. I mean, what are you? Would you guys? I mean, obviously having Berlin control is better than not having it, probably. But
Sure,
it'd be
yeah, we
interesting
have
to see.
We need a third map. 100%.
We need some sort of meta change at this point. I mean, like last year, it was interesting because you had like basically a new map or something along those lines at some point throughout every single stage. Basically, like at first you had Raid, then you had like Express, then you had like Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And so you're really keeping it interesting with some new metas. And so we need something new here heading into stage 3.
Yeah, definitely took Cold War for granted, honestly.
Yeah.
Dude, I like
Yeah.
Vanguard. I don't know. I think Vanguard's
I mean,
fun.
Vanguard's
No, I
fine.
think Vanguard's great. It's just, again, it's the content. It's the...
Updates. It's,
Again,
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
it's
it's
so-
control. It's
it's-
control.
I
Fair.
suppose you could say point to that, but, you know.
yeah. So I don't know. We'll
It's
see.
totally the mode. All right, next up, John Rahm. Maybe we should talk about this because he's
John Rahm.
He's talking
Oh,
about
Rex. How dare you?
Right.
I don't even know who John Rahm is. Little golf boy.
Who watches golf, man? What's golf?
Honestly.
Come on, man. He was like the #1 golfer in the world up until like a few weeks ago.
So he's not the number
Cool.
one golfer. So if you're not the number one golfer, like, does anyone actually care?
Who are you?
And so anyway, he's now an investor in OXG Esports, which is the parent company for Boston Breach, which is really cool. And so they had like another round of funding. Long story short, like John Rahm said he was an OpTic fan, like and after he won the US Open last summer, and he watched OpTic play on the morning of the championship Sunday
that
of
was
the US
that
Open.
guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so it's pretty cool.
Oh, John
I thought
Rahm.
that was really
Nice.
So he declared himself an OpTic fan, but now
and then
he's
bought into the Boston Breach.
bought
Yeah,
into the Boston Breach. But he's with Gronkowski and everything.
yeah, he is pretty cool. They have one of the cooler ownership groups, that's for sure.
100%.
Yeah. So and then speaking of
100%.
Ownership
investments.
groups.
Yeah, ownership groups.
The parent company of the London Royal Ravens, Rekt Global, was purchased by Infinite Reality, which is something to do with the metaverse. Infinite Reality is.
Yeah. So I was doing a lot of research on this actually. It's really interesting. They're like a Web3 company, which is like mixing they have a massive production studio. Like it's called Thunder Studios in California. It's like $150 million. It's like a massive facility where they've done like
Massive.
like photo shoots and advertisements like Justin Bieber and Taylor Swift and people like. So I don't know if the London Royal Ravens will move to California at some point for that. I don't know, but that is something to keep your eye on at least and worth monitoring for the team. But very interesting. It was this $470 million acquisition. That's huge. The Rekt Global also has
Who is Infinite Reality? Like, what else? How do they have so much money?
all I know is that they were a merger of 3 different companies last year. It was like a production studio and then like a social platform and then one other like startup company that all merged into one company called Infinite Reality that's going to work on producing virtual reality events and augmented reality events in the next 5 years.
All right.
That's crazy. $2 billion is what
Insane.
is what the equity valuation was.
I mean,
Man,
the fact that esports companies sold for $470 million worth of like equity is insane. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Rogue and dang, that is insane, dude.
So-
Insane.
Wait, what are they saying? What's
League of-
Rogue? League of Legends?
No, CS:GO.
CS:GO.
Rogue?
I think
It's
so.
like
CS:GO.
they have a bunch of games, but I think they're in Rainbow Six, Rocket League.
They're
Rogue Esports.
Rogue was probably the bigger side of the acquisition of Rekt.
But they
Global.
also have like other teams too. Like
Yeah.
they might have something in Overwatch League. You know, I don't know for sure.
right.
Yeah, I'm seeing teams.
Yeah, pretty insane.
here. Give me like 5 seconds for it to load. League of Legends, Rocket League, Rainbow Six, and content creators. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So like that was all acquired by Infinite Reality, which is pretty insane.
That's insane.
Yeah.
How many times
So,
can I say
yeah, there we
insane?
are. I
Nice.
thought it was at least cool. I think those types of acquisitions are really interesting, like in the esports scene.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money.
Speaking of money, some weird. I don't know if this is a rumor or what, but
No, I mean, he confirmed it himself.
So Mike Apox is doing booking like coaching sessions and stuff. Like
He's an
just
analyst
for anybody
for Paris.
and he's an analyst for Paris. And somebody tweeted at him like Paris ain't paying enough, huh? And then he said, I don't get paid by them at all, unfortunately. So he works for Paris, but he doesn't get paid by them.
Bro, like, what is wrong with Paris? Come on, man. Should we bring it back?
It's resume boosting.
Do you still have the drop? Do you have the drop?
I got it somewhere.
Let's play it.
What's wrong with Paris?
Welcome to What's Wrong with Paris.
Oh,
though?
baby, we
Paris?
bringing it back. Dude, what's wrong with what? We're having people work for, is that even legal?
Talk about a team that can contain its leaks. Paris is the most mysterious team I have ever encountered. Like, well, I don't even know what it is. I'm like, is this some like weird money laundering scheme? Like, they're so mysterious to me.
Right. I mean, like, you can't even pay him like a stipend or something, like a contract. Like, you'll pay him like $200 a month or $300 a month or like $500 like nothing.
Who does Theory report to? Who's Theory's boss? He's the coach, right?
Whoever's the manager of the Paris Legion.
Isn't that weird? Like, we know like LA Thieves, like Mud Dogs, like the GM. NYSL, like the names you can find, but Paris is like, it's just mystery man. Goes from Theory and then the line just cuts. There's nothing else to go. It's so
I don't understand
weird.
sometimes with Paris, man. But yeah, I mean, maybe Apox was like, yo, I'll work for free. And like, if you want to pay me, that'd be great. And they're like, okay, great.
Yeah.
You can work for free. I don't know. How does it even happen?
Yeah.
I mean, it's resume
That's the thing
boosting.
Too. Yeah, that's the thing too, is like, it's obviously it sucks. We don't know what the arrangement was. Like, maybe truly Apox came to Paris, like, I can help you out here.
I'll work for free.
But it doesn't make it less, sucky for him to not even get paid. So
but like, I feel like for Paris it's like, okay, well, at least we'll give you a stipend of like, here's a few $100s a month.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe free
just
travel
weird
to
to me.
events. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
He
Who
might
knows?
get paid, but it might be like per,
maybe
session or something. I bet they don't need him there for every single scrim. So he's probably not salaried. So it's just like every time they're going to do S&D or something, he comes in. It's like, okay, we'll pay you whatever for this session.
Yeah, that's what's interesting. I don't know. I mean, we're only talking about it just because it was like people were obviously making jokes and roasting him on Reddit. It was pretty upvoted, so I was like, that's funny. We'll cover it. But
yeah.
Roster now we're getting to the real spicy stuff.
Roster moves. Some things that we all saw coming. This is where Gunless is giving us the little Arthur Fist meme because Spart has
Arthur Fist me.
The Arthur Fist meme.
Oh, Sam.
Do you remember the Arthur Fist meme where it's like his fist is just like
word.
clenched at his side?
Sorry, I misheard you there.
You're just like
I was
quietly
like,
mad.
I was like, who's Arthur? Why is he? Sorry.
He's Arthur, man.
Probably should cut that out there.
Oh, no, that's definitely
What?
staying in.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, no. Arthur Fist me for sure.
That's what Gunless is doing because Spart is on the starting roster. Gunless is confirmed a substitute.
Oh, that's so rough,
He's not
dude.
just gone, but he is on the substitute roster.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, what are you going to do? That's tough for Gunless.
Though, just a few days ago, he was tweeting about how he was puking every time he works out or something like that. So
yeah, he's definitely not fully healthy yet.
No.
Yeah.
Which is, there's nothing much to say besides it just sucks. I mean,
No, yeah. And we'll definitely talk more about what Gunless's future could look like here when we get to some of the other teams and potential
Dude.
options. So, yeah, we'll see.
what would be crazy though is, I mean, I feel like it's like this goes two ways. It's either really, 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 really good or really, 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 really bad. I don't know. Like, I don't see this
For
being
Gunless
like a
or
middle
LAG?
For LAG. They continue to be really, really good. or are they
Right. Like, are they
I think they're gonna be
the
good.
question is, are they the Ultra of Stage 2 last year, or are they the Rokkr of Stage 5 Major?
Mhm.
Ooh,
You know?
rocker vibes to me.
Ooh, Rokkr vibes. You think
That's what I'm
so?
saying.
Rokkr?
I do. It seems very
I
Standy-esque. Comes in one hit, not that Standy's a one hit wonder, but you know,
Well,
you
I
get
mean,
your little honeymoon boost, and then it kind of dies.
Or what it really reminisces is
Insight.
LG Black Ops 4 with the Rampart when they won the tournament with
that's
the
the
Rampart.
other factor.
That's literally
That's the
what
other
happened.
factor.
Dude, the Volk was not the reason though.
But
I mean,
no, okay, but like
It was at least
there
a
was a
percentage.
there was a correlation when LAG won. When LG won Black Ops 4, was
And
it Birmingham?
they even have their name's LG. I mean, it's like
they just forgot the A.
this is comparable.
So yeah, like the Rampart, you know,
And then it gets
classic
GA'd a
user
week later.
Rampart, puts up like a 1.4 with the Rampart,
Yeah.
and then it gets GA'd. And so I'm not saying that's the same thing, but it is at the same moment. It's kind of looking like that. We'll see.
But it's like,
I
did the
mean,
Rampart
how-
win LG that event? No.
I
No.
wonder if people are actually even using the Volk. Like, are pro players actually still using the Volk in scrims? Like, primarily?
Well, no.
We might not even
It's
know.
GA.
No, it's GA'd.
It's GA for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
they have the whole GA. Oh,
That's still a thing.
dude, it's so, like, how does that still exist? Like, make it go away, please.
There was a lot of debate about GAs on Reddit this past
The
week.
Volk should not be GA. That's just 100%. It should not. But, all right.
Yeah.
Moving on. Ultra signed Scrappy as a substitute.
Yeah.
So they have two subs, Hixie and Scrappy.
Scrappy, dude.
And we
did you see-
imagine Ultra is going to be making a roster change
You see that video? of
at some
Scrappy?
point.
I did.
Maybe.
What were your thoughts?
I'm not. I tweeted about it because if you guys were talking about the video of him like his trash
Comments,
talk
yeah,
at
yeah.
Stage 2 majors or the amateur bracket at
Yeah.
Stage 2 major. Again, like I said, I tweeted it was like a 6.5 out of 10 madness rating
Yeah.
versus some of the things that I've heard while reffing in my time in the
Yeah.
open brackets, but. He definitely got into it. To be fair, it's a deserving signing though for Scrappy. I mean, he's been really consistent this year and consistent improvement in this Toronto NA team now winning the Minnesota Open. Like, you gotta lock up some of those guys. So now you got Hixie and Scrappy there.
Some solid backups.
That's a lot of opportunities and a lot of people who could potentially replace people in the starting lineup.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Some role swaps. Kenny and Draza will be swapping roles. Kenny's going to be picking up the submachine gun. Draza's going to be picking up the Flexaroonie.
I
Sounds
mean,
like
this
last
was their
year.
wow, what a
Seems
big
like-
change.
Seems like last
After
year.
all of this, like,
Does that make a
difference?
difference? Does it make a difference?
I mean, maybe
It made a difference a little bit when Kenny switched to AR in Cold War. It made a difference.
It did. Yeah, it made him slightly better.
It did.
But like, it just feels like such a wash of a move. Like,
yeah.
is this really gonna be the thing that unlocks them? It seems so unlikely.
I would say probably more than anything, I think Kenny probably plays similar, but then, maybe Draza gets slightly better, which might help things.
And their problem is they suck in all three game modes. Like, it's not just that it's hard point and control. They're horrible in search and destroy. And that's Kenny and Draza have been, they're like two of the worst S&D players, two of the probably bottom 5 S&D players in Stage 2 were Kenny and Draza.
Which is so crazy because I think they were really good in Cold War.
They were pretty good in Cold War, yeah. And they were horrible in Stage 2. Like, it was some terrible S&D. So it's like, I just don't see this being the solution. It feels like a little Band-Aid on like a gashing wound.
But think
Know
though,
what
if
it
they
is?
could.
What?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was gonna say, but think though, if they actually tighten up their S&D, how many times they're actually up? They probably should have won almost every S&D they played.
Yeah.
So it's if they actually tighten it up, they could be scary. But it's just the fact that
that's the
how many
thing,
times
I
No,
haven't
they,
lost hope in this team.
I know you haven't. I can see it in your eyes.
I haven't lost hope in the team. I mean, how much hope we talking? We talking
Dude, you
can they
lost
be
hope 100%. I think this team could still be a
top
top.
4?
I was going to say top 6. But top 4, I don't even think's out of the realm of possibility.
I mean, that feels.
They had a bad run for sure, but they got to, get over it. play as good as the players that we know that they are. Send them to Challengers boot camp for a little bit. Bring them back. Be a whole new game.
Man, think if they would have beat OpTic in Major 2.
I mean, again, they're so close to having some narratives change. Like, I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where they got reverse swept a few times, and like they got reverse swept by like what? Yeah, because they lost game 5 to OpTic, and then they got reverse swept by Rokkr the next series. And so, yeah, and then they were up 2-1 on LAG, and then lost that series. So like they've been close, but that's close against Rokkr, LAG, but when they were bad, and then Subliners at the major, they beat in a reverse sweep. Like, I don't know. I mean, the narrative would have changed if they beat if they beat OpTic in that series at the major. The whole narrative is different.
Yeah, 100%.
The whole narrative's different, and they were up 2-0.
Yeah. So I think they're on the cusp. I think they're there. They can taste it. I think success is there. All right. Anyways, Varsities and Cell officially swapped. Oh, you got more?
I was going to say, like, you know, what's your standard for what do they have to do this next stage for you to be like excited about them?
Win. Probably win.
What? No.
I don't know. Draza for sure.
Do they have to score the most points than the other team to win?
You gotta score more points. They gotta get more kills.
Like what are you expecting for them at the Pro-Am? I mean, obviously we don't know what the groups are going to look like yet, and it's single elimination.
Like, honestly, Mike, like Challengers is like the boot camp of COD. Like, you send Methods was mediocre to not very good in Cold War. He goes to Challengers, he comes back, he's a really good AR in Vanguard now.
Yeah.
You send player to Challengers, and if they're able to come back, they're
if they
really
have the right
good.
mentality, it can make them better.
New Challengers players that come in, most of the time, they're hits. Most Challengers players are more successful than everybody else on their team.
There's a grind mentality that Challengers kind of forces you to adopt.
Yeah, it's that. I don't even know if it's grind mentality, but it's the fact that they grind so much. It's just the passion pit. And you have to learn the niche, like weird little things, you have to learn all this stuff.
Yeah.
I think we saw Dave Patty, even though I know he came to the league this year, but you see him on Gavutu. I think he was sitting on the back fence of like where B control is. And and it's not like that's a crazy spot, but it's like the first time I think I ever saw anyone really do that.
Any of the pros pull it out. Yeah.
And he did. And I think he got like 2 or 3 people, and they just weren't expecting him to be there like that. We're going to see people doing that way more often now.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it'll just be interesting. I don't know. Like, what type of win? Like, I just don't know how quickly they turn around. Octane said they've been scrimming and they've started to beat people they should be beating now, at least in his videos, what he said. Like, we're starting to beat the people we should be beating now, is what he said. Like, he mentioned like Paris and I think Rokkr or something.
Yeah. Octane does need success this year.
He really needs it for his career too. Yeah, exactly. And like, I don't know. I'm just a little bit worried about the upside of this team, at least in the next stage, or at least early on in this stage, to really bounce back that quickly. And maybe the role change helps invigorate a little bit of the team a little bit, but I don't know. I'm just not convinced with some of the decision making and search and destroy this team makes. Sometimes it's just painful.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we
obviously
we
easy to say from our bird's eye
view.
Pretty
much hit all the points there, but it's like they're on the cusp, but they have they're close, but they're not. You know, it's weird. It's a weird thing to be.
Yeah, they're a pretty paradoxical team. Like with like at least like with the Ultra, it doesn't feel like they're close, or the Rokkr, it doesn't really feel like they're close at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Sublime, I mean the Thieves, I can see them getting to like a improved state. But like, I just don't know if I see them getting to that top 4 anytime soon again. But
if they can consistently beat the Surge, I think they're in a good spot.
I mean, fair enough. Surge are the kind of the gatekeepers.
Draza and Kenny have to pick. Like, Draza for sure has been underwhelming. Kenny's been a little bit underwhelming.
Very.
There's just ways that they should be synergizing better. But anyways,
I agree.
We all wrapped up with that one.
Oh, we are.
RCs and Cells officially swapped roles.
Yeah, this isn't like that breaking of news.
Cell going AR, RCD's going flex.
They basically were already doing that. They just hadn't like officially announced it for probably a month or longer. I mean, RC's has been the one pulling out the SMG on Bocage for weeks and weeks and weeks now.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I feel like it makes sense to do it. Like, I think the way their play styles are. Yeah. Rokkr. Oh, so there's been trials going on. Some
so this is the real big news this week. This is the new news.
Some tryouts. Rokkr are trialing various players with the current roster. That includes AMs and pros. They said there is a world where they go into the Pro-Am with the same roster. Same roster that they have now?
Yeah.
Same roster.
Said it's still possible they could go into the Pro-Am with the same roster, but it's all up for debate at this point.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, when you think of the Rokkr and you're like, all right, first instincts, at least for me, point towards Priesta, Major Maniac, probably Priesta first. And then obviously obviously Standy has not been good in respawn. He's been fantastic in search and destroy, but he's been bad in respawn. And Attach has been probably the most balanced overall good player throughout this for the first two stages. So what type of changes do you think could work here? And is this a potential landing spot for Gunless?
No. No.
Thoughts?
I think go for it, Sam.
Golly.
Well, lots of hot takes coming from this side of the.
You're keeping Attach. You're keeping Standy.
Yeah,
more and so likely. Basically, it's just Priesta and Major on the hot seat. I think it doesn't make any sense for this team. Gunless. I
main
think
AR Gunless.
Like he could be a good fit, honestly.
I think it has to be a main AR situation, right?
Yeah. What's unfortunate is I think I would have loved to see the LAG with Gunless at Major 2 just to see because they're on the up. They're on the up and up. Obviously, they had the best case scenario with Spart, so it doesn't really make any sense. But
yeah, but they were already improving with Gunless, like you said. They had beat they 3-0'd or they beat LAT. They beat Surge. They beat Legion. They were coming in at least in a pretty decent spot, like 100%.
Better than like how they started for sure. So
yeah,
it'd be interesting if you had like a temp Gunless, like temp on. You put Attach and Standy on sub temp.
Wow, that'd be a huge acquisition. Oh my,
flex and then Gunless at main. I don't know.
Temp and Gunless. Wow, that's a time bomb.
You think so?
I think it's a time bomb. But
the passion might just be there though. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think Gunless on main could work because like you want to. I mean, like. It's like Major Maniac. He lived up to kind of his stereotype this year. He's just gotten too slow, especially in control. Like, I'm just not sure what the future. Like, we've been playing this game with the Rokkr for a year and a half now. I just don't see where the upside is at this point. There's just no way it's there. I think you have to make two changes.
Yeah, it seems like a one role or a one player swap doesn't do what it needs for this team.
No.
I mean, again, too, but is it kind of crazy to Standy kind of needs to pick it up too?
No, 100% he does. 100%. He's not safe.
In respawn, I agree, but I mean, at this point, I mean, I think he's kind of in like the island situation that Envoy's been on right now. It's like there's just no one there to help him. Like. You had Attach, who obviously, but Attach went to Flex because Priesta was struggling so bad. Then you send a Priesta to SMG and was it better? I mean, maybe a little bit. They beat the Ultra, cool. So that's where my problems lie. It's like, okay, I mean, I just don't think he has any decent SMG around him at all. And that definitely matters. And then also, I don't think Major Maniac oftentimes does enough to help his SMGs. I mean, engagements per 10 minutes in hardpoint, Major Maniac is third to last, which, I mean, obviously the main ARs are of course, the ones at the bottom. It's like Zero's last, Dave Patty second last, Major Maniac's third last, except Major Maniac has a negative KD and those two don't. And overall, like, it just seems like there's a lot of other issues there. Obviously, pacing is just one of the many X factors.
Yeah, maybe
It
a
seems like a
Pristini,
Priesta issue to me.
maybe a Pristini comes in, duos with Standy, and then you have Attach on Flex,
And you bring in Gunless,
and they bring Gunless on main.
which is the Seattle duo last year.
It wasn't it?
Oh, that's kind of fun.
That could work.
It's a little risky to take a shot on Pristini at this point, considering he hasn't played in a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Just for one tournament subbing in, I guess. But
That is funny.
I don't know. That is interesting. That's a very interesting idea, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Could work.
that's a fun one. Are there any other combinations? I mean, obviously they could reach down to the amateur scene, and you're looking at like, do you make a trade for one of the Toronto guys? Like, maybe can you try to make that happen?
Mhm.
Otherwise, you bring on one of the like Real or something along those lines from the Rokkr Academy. Maybe they didn't have a good performance at the LAN this weekend, which was unfortunate. But
Yeah, it was weird. I was expecting a lot from them, but
yeah,
it happens.
I know.
It happens.
So I don't know. Is there Rex? Is there any option that kind of gets you excited? Gets you
Gets you
tingly
bricked
over
up?
there?
Well,
Yeah.
I just am struggling. I don't know what I
Sorry.
think is the biggest problem with the team. And maybe I'd have to watch more VOD or something, but I wonder, why is Major Maniac, like, he plays this main position, why is he have a negative KD and the least amount of engagement? That seems like pretty much the worst combination possible.
Right. And
if
in
you
control,
have high engagements, but your KD is little negative, it's like, okay, but if you're like near the bottom in engagements, and then you're losing most of the very minimal engagements that you're getting in most of the
Yeah.
time, like that's like, that's not great. Now, is that because he's not winning like the long, like 1v1 gunfights at a distance with the other ARs? Or is that because he doesn't have any space to really breathe because of Priest and Standy not sort of giving him some room to be an AR?
right. I mean, like, but the other weird thing is like in control, which, they've been, I mean, not great in control. They've been okay if they're 5-8 right now in control. But like, this feels like a weird stat to me as well, where he has the third lowest. Well, I guess you don't really count classic. You barely count royalty. So if you don't count those two, the second lowest, only behind accuracy, which is ironic because they were teammates last year. That they in team kill percentage, the amount of kills that he gets in control. But like with accuracy, that makes sense because he has two of the best slayers in the CDL on his team, in Pred and Sib, and even Mac, who's insane in control.
Mm-hmm.
But like with Major Maniac, no one else is really eating up those kills. And so it's weird to me that like he's that low, and he has like a 0.89 KD right now in control as well. I do think that he's been better than Priesta, which is saying something.
I agree. I think it's a sub thing. Honestly, I don't even think it's a him. I think Priest.
Yeah.
If it were me, I would look to move Priesta out, find a new sub, and I'd probably just stick with one switch for now.
Really?
No guarantees that'll work, but I think it'll give you a better sense of what's happening. So when I would do trials, I would switch Priest out, put somebody in, play with these core three, and then kind of see what's happening from there. Maybe
Interesting.
switch Major out, but I just wonder how Major is losing his gunfights so much in its very minimal engagements. Like,
Yeah. That,
like
yeah,
why
exactly.
is it because he's getting snuck up on? Is someone just hitting him from the side with a submachine gun? Like, is it something like that? Because if that's the
Right.
case, that's more of a submachine gun issue. It's just like
Or
losing one-on-one.
usually that
distance
would mean that
battles.
he's not effectively trading kills, or the SMGs aren't putting him in a good spot to trade their kills.
Basically,
And it's that relationship. So
Mhm.
it's whether or not, whose fault is it? Is it the SMG's fault for not being in the right spot to help to have the ARs get their trade, or is it the AR's fault to not be in the right position to get the trade of the SMG?
right.
Which is probably some sort of coordination and overall mini map awareness
Comes down, the pacing, minimap awareness, sort of
and
thing.
coordination. Yeah. So there's always those weird combinations. I mean, obviously they're still very respectable in S&D, which of course this roster is going to be respectable in S&D. So I think that would be the argument to keep Major Maniac over Priesta. But I don't think either Priesta or Major Maniac have been like unbelievable in Search and Destroy. It's been Attach and Standy in Search and Destroy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, I'm doing a lot of stats here because it's just kind of what I have in front of me right now. But like, Standy right now is a 1.28 KD in S&D, second best in the CDL. He is very good in kills per 9 rounds. He might have the highest team kill percentage. He has the highest team kill percentage in S&D in the CDL. And he even gets some plants down once in a while. So it's like, he's doing a lot for the team. So you got to support Standy and Search and Destroy. That's what's a weird situation for me right now with the Rokkr, where I can't fully wrap my head around it. Look, I guess over under on like just predictions of what they might do. What's your prediction of what they do? Because I mean, I think we'll have an answer by maybe next podcast, but for sure before the Pro-Am.
It's gotta be over 50% that I think Priest
they
is
make at least
probably
one
out.
change.
Yeah.
If you had, I think I'm gonna bet they start with one change because I feel like that's the safe play.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I think they should do 2, and I think it'll be Priesta.
I think it'll come down, maybe possibly to 2. But I think Priest will be the first out. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, fair enough. So what else we got?
NYSL.
Yeah, we do have NYSL.
Subliners.
Now, this one's weird, man.
They're also trialing some players. So far, Krim at least has not been like in the trials, I guess, practicing.
Well, he's been out of the trials, which is the irony.
He's been out of the trials, which I guess gives the impression that he is safe and Hydra is safe. Because Hydra hasn't been in
Hydra
trials.
were not scrimming. He said, me and Hydra are not scrimming today, is what he said. But the team is.
But how weird is that though? Like, wouldn't you want to trial them out with your replacements?
Isn't that weird?
Like,
but apparently they're doing it the opposite way.
Yeah, if you're keeping Krim and Hydra, try them out with 2 other people. Don't put them out of the, like, that makes 0 sense.
I was really confused by that too, but I think that's what they're doing.
Well, I wonder if they're trying to see Neptune and Paul X's performance without Hydra and Krim there to kind of guide them, maybe.
I think that is what they're trying to do.
Hydra obviously just like slaying the way, and then Krim probably being the leader. Just wanting to see if Paul and Neptune are doing bad and we bring in the AM players like fill in and they're still just like not able to do anything. They're like, okay, well then we got to try something different.
But that makes no sense with Paul though. Paul just got on the team. I don't get that, man.
Well, exactly. Just got there. You don't know if you got a one-hit wonder on your hands.
I guess, but
either they honestly might just be like, this is the groups. It's just like Krim and Hydra are a group. They're not training for the first 3 days, and then the last 3 days they'll be the ones in it, and Neptune and Paul won't be. So I don't know, but
yeah, it's interesting.
I don't know if it necessarily means Krim and Hydra Hydra is safe, but I don't know if it necessarily means Krim is safe though.
Yeah. I can't believe we forgot to mention that the Rokkr were trialing Havoc. That's who they were trialing. And then the Subliners were trialing Kismet. I literally forgot to mention that. Yeah, that's what Zuma said.
The Rokkr was trialing Havoc and...
So Havoc for Priesta, probably.
And NYSL was trying who?
Kismet.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So, obviously that's the OpTic Texas duo coming into play here, which is interesting. Kismet for Neptune. How do you feel about that? Havoc for Priesta.
Dude, I haven't seen some Kismet submachine gun gameplay. I'd have to see more.
Yeah.
Know how good of a sub
obviously
he is.
we haven't seen him in a CDL since MW, but
yeah.
Shout out Paris Legion. But
I always am, honestly, I'm going to be honest. I'm always fairly skeptical of more like veteran players.
Players who've already had their shot.
Yeah.
Opportunities.
Had their opportunities.
But we just saw Spart, who was terrible in Modern Warfare, end up being a freaking god in this game. So
yeah, it is the same. You're right. It is the same with Kismet. Kismet could surprise.
So you're more hesitant on Havoc.
Yeah, definitely hesitant on Havoc. Not that Havoc's bad. Like Havoc was okay. Like that's what you're getting with Havoc.
He's looked really good in the amateur scene. Obviously, he's been one of the best players so far this year in the AM scene, considering they won like 5 straight tournaments.
Yeah.
But it is a tough situation. I don't I mean, Havoc, if they just want to be the best S&D team in the league, I guess fair enough. I mean, you're bringing in Havoc, who's such a great S&D player for Priesthood, who's at least a little bit struggled in S&D this year. You have like 4 S&D stars in your team at that point, if you're Rokkr. And then for the subliners, I'm just not as convinced Kismet's the right play. But again, like that's might just be the biases of, Modern Warfare Kismet still sticking in, even though we've seen him and I watched him play this tournament. But again, it's always tough because that's the scale against amateur players versus what we're going to see in a CDL. So I don't know. I'm a little bit more hesitant about that change. I think the Havoc thing is interesting because you're maximizing your strengths. So you're just trying to be the best S&D team in a CDL, which if you are at that point, at least you can win, 2, 3, 5s and go from there, which I mean, fair enough.
It is weird though. Like Kismet is always somehow top 3, top 4.
Well, and then that's the thing last year with BBG and everything.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. Our last impression of him, obviously from a CDL and the CDL standpoint, is Paris and not doing too well, but who knows, man?
Yeah. But that's the thing. This is the classic situation. I think this is where you're going with it. Like if his name was 18-year-old unknown player who just won 5 straight tournaments, we would all be like, this guy has to get a chance. This guy has to.
But just because of his name, it's like, okay, he's kind of an older person and so on and so forth. But
it is. I think he's like 22, so he's not like old,
but caught old.
Caught old.
How old's Spart? He's got to be somewhere.
I think he's got to be 21 or 22.
I know Kismet's name has been around for forever.
Oh yeah.
Spart.
Spart's only 20.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, I mean, what do you think
Neptune's
New York
gone.
should do?
Neptune's gone.
Do you think he deserves to be gone?
Yes.
I mean, he played a lot better in their recent matches. I mean,
they played a lot better because the strategy was just run around and kill things as fast as possible and don't get in the hill. That was the strategy.
The problem is they won 3 straight series, but it was against Legion, Rokkr, and Ultra. And they won all the hard points in those series.
Yeah, that's because they just surprised people with speed and aggression.
And those were the 3 worst hardpoint teams in the league. And then they took a hardpoint off Thieves, who's probably the 4th worst hardpoint team in the league. So, I mean, they definitely had some nice matchups there. And they took FaZe around 11 on the Tuscan S&D. I don't know. Like, I still think there's at least some opportunity with that roster if you let that roster stick out. I'd be really disappointed with them.
Bad plays.
I'd be very disappointed with them if they benched Paul. That would be shocking to me.
Yeah, I agree. But
I'm okay with them trying Kismet, but I'm not convinced that takes them to the next level.
I'm not either. I mean, I like the idea of some, I don't know. I shouldn't be besmirching Kismet's name, I guess, as much as maybe I am, but I definitely like the idea of like a younger gun.
Like a really risky play.
Guy. You need someone to replace Neptune, and Neptune's definitely he's got the mechanics, but you need something like that, but that can also. I mean, Kismet again. But Kismet has looked cracked this year, so I guess that's interesting. I want to see him play. Why not? Maybe at least let's see him play at the Pro-Am. I would like to see the New York team stick it out a little bit longer, but I get the idea considering we're heading into stage 3 and you need to start winning right now. So I get it. Any chance Clay's coming back? Do you think Clay could be on that? Could Clay be on a fix for that Rokkr team?
I think the AR is the problem, though.
Well, it comes down to what you think of Major Maniac.
Yeah. I mean, Clay would be a faster player than Major Maniac. Maybe not that much faster, but...
Because it's hard to say what the problem is with Rokkr. That's why you need to get somebody in there to replace Priesta, see what starts happening then. And then that's when you can know if like Major Maniac is an issue in himself, just because the way he plays isn't right. Just his instinctual play isn't the right way to mesh with this team.
Yeah. I mean, like there was that whole rumor of like Havoc and Clay kind of talking about the New York situation. So maybe that could end up happening on the Rokkr. I mean, that'd be interesting with Havoc and Clay heading that way. That could be interesting.
Maybe he goes to Halo.
Clay goes to Halo.
Horny for Formy.
Dude, yeah, speaking of Halo, Formal alleged beats
wild.
Cloud9. What was his kid like? What, 30-something kills, I think?
I have no idea.
The next highest, I think, was like low 20s.
I did see the clip that he was hyped, though.
Yeah, he went off, bro. Dude,
Formal is insane. So I don't know.
Sorry.
Anyway, we'll see what happens. I think Clay could end up on that Rokkr team.
So
But will it
Ola,
happen
Sam?
quick?
What are we thinking highly of Ola now?
Ola? What do you mean?
Oh,
from
we're going back to
Halo.
Halo talk here.
Because he replaced Formal. And I don't know. I remember we talked. And I was like, dude, this is like the play. Because Ola was obviously the problem on that Halo team. But
He wasn't obviously the problem.
he was.
I don't think so. I just think Formal was incredible. And I don't think Ola was the person to drop. Anyways.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we think Clay comes back?
Don't know.
Oh, dude.
Okay. I'm
I
going to
don't
go with a
think
yes.
that's the fix. That's not the fix.
I think it's a little bit of stars aligning.
If you're
I
gonna
think
do
it's
the
an
one,
improvement.
if you're gonna do the one player switch, it's not gonna be the AR.
Yeah.
It can't be.
No,
If it's the
it would
one-player
be a
switch,
two-player
it's not.
switch. You'd be bringing in Havoc and Clay.
But that seems not to like be me, but like that seems somewhat risky-ish as a team, kind
I mean,
of.
at this point, though, like, you kind of have to risk it for the biscuit. It's
Yeah.
major 3, you know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess I have. I like the idea of young, cracked people. Those are the future.
I mean, I get what you're saying for sure. I 100% get it, but that's easier said than done. I would definitely try out some of the amateur players first and give them a go, and then see what happens. But yeah, I'm with you there for sure. I mean, right now the top 5 spots aren't. I don't want to say locked because that might be a little bit aggressive. But like LAG is at 5th right now in the standings, 115 points, and then 6th is LA Thieves at 70. So
Quite
there's
the jump.
LAT, Florida, and Surge are tied at 70. Then you have Ultra at 60, Rokkr at 50, Subliners at 40, Paris at 20. So
Paris is still last. Oh man, I thought this would be
It's
the
tough.
year.
I know.
Still could be.
Haha, good one. So that's the question. So I guess they're all gonna be battling for those final like few spots for the top 8 headed towards champs. So that's what's gonna be interesting. So there it is, boys. That's the RosterMania talk and the news and everything else. We have some Q&A to get into. So without further ado, let's hit this Q&A, baby. Let's ask some questions.
Hey folks, something I've been thinking about. I got a very important question to ask you.
Woo, it's Q&A time, baby. Let's freaking go. So we're going to be answering a handful of questions. We had actually a lot of questions in the short amount of time that we gave people to submit questions. So thanks to everybody who submitted on Twitter or on the community poll on YouTube. We read every single one of them. So even if your question didn't get answered, hopefully we already talked about it a little bit in the RosterMania section with a lot of them were about like gunless or trades or Rokkr or New York. So kind of answered some of those already. And otherwise, if we didn't answer your question, we just straight up ran out of time. So sorry about that. But we have a handful of them to go through right now. So off the rip, I mean, here's one. We got to start with the GOAT himself. I Hold Shift asks,
All right.
argue opinions on this statement. Atlanta FaZe is not a CDL dynasty. Agree, disagree, opinions.
We had this conversation, I think.
At one point, going into this year, we had, or maybe after champs last year, we
I
had the
think we
conversation.
finished after champs and Cold War.
Yeah.
Most of us said that they were Well, I don't know if I'm on
Is
board
the
with the
statement
dynasty
Atlanta
conversation.
FaZe is a dynasty is true?
No.
Sam?
It feels like they just added Arsties. They need like another year.
I think what's interesting is, are we talking about the organization Atlanta FaZe? Because if we are, I think they're a dynasty.
Well,
but
yeah, I
because
don't think
you would call the Patriots a dynasty, but they only had two similar players through a stretch of it was like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick.
No. COD Dynasty is 4 players.
Yeah. I
Is it
think
though?
I agree with Sam. Like you have 4 there's 4 players on a
The
roster.
complexity dynasty,
Five.
the complexity dynasty included Clayster.
5 max. It can't be more than 5.
Well, for
That's
the
a rule.
time, maybe
That's a rule I made
complexity shouldn't have.
That's a rule you made up.
I don't know.
So-
It's harder to be a dynasty these days, I feel like. I'm not ready. I'm not prepared to call FaZe a dynasty yet.
Okay, that's a good question, actually. Now that I think about it more, is the whole players versus...
But
team.
also with FaZe, I mean, they won it, like not even
One
counting
player.
BO4. If you don't even count BO4, I mean, they made the grand finals in the first year, and then they won champs the second year of the CDL. Obviously, in BO4, Simp and Abezy won champs, or Simp, Abezy, and Arcides won champs in BO4. And then you go to Modern Warfare, Simp, Abezy, and Celium were in the grand finals with Priesta and Major Maniac. And then in Cold War, obviously the four of them won COD champs.
I'll say Simp and Abezy can have the title of dynastic duo. I don't know, but a dynastic duo.
I do kind of love that.
But they're the dynastic duo.
Wait, the dynastic duo? That's kind of lit.
The dynasty duo. Simp and Abezy have earned that title. I'll give them the dynasty duo.
Bro, Sam, I don't think you're smiling enough for those legendary calls right there.
But Celium and Arcides aren't quite. They haven't been part. They can't be part of the dynasty yet.
Guys,
I mean, Arcides has won 2 champs with Simp and Abezy.
But it was so
orgs.
split. Like, yeah, different orgs. It was united, and then it was
problem with the FaZe Dynasty is that it was 5v5. It went from BO4 to then champ, or it went from BO4 to then franchising, which caused a massive roster mania. And then it went from 5v5 to 4v4, which caused another roster mania. So it was like completely out of their control to stay together.
Well, I mean, in Modern Warfare, they had the option to keep Major Maniac as an but
one of them had to leave.
Yeah, one of them did, but they got rid of both and picked up Arcides, which it just kind of changes the whole game.
But they were already playing with Arcides the year before that, where they won champs.
That was the year before that. Then it was a break.
Yeah, I'm more comfortable just calling Simp and Abezy
the dynastic duo.
The dynastic
or the dynasty duo.
Yep, 100%.
I mean, if they won champs this year, they're undoubtedly a dynasty. If they win champs this year, they're without a doubt a dynasty.
100%.
Like, that's cemented. I would even call them a dynasty if they win a major. I might be willing to then call them a dynasty, because
I'll call them a dynasty if they stick together after this season.
Because honestly,
I mean, but
OpTic
again, complexity is a dynasty, and they only played less than 1 year together as a full team of 4.
But that was back in the olden days. And that,
there's only 2 dynasties in COD history. It's OpTic
and complexity. But yeah, so the first dynasty ever is probably usually the easiest dynasty to become, because you're the first one to do it. After that, it's going to be harder and harder and harder to become like dynasty title.
I mean, OpTic were together for 2.5 years. Well, maybe
that cannot be right.
I mean, in the middle of AW,
I guess.
After champs AW, to then all of BO3, to then all of IW, and then the first 2 events of
they played all World War II.
No, they broke up after CWL Seattle.
Oh, dude, that's right. But that was like near the end, and we all knew that was like
that was literally middle of the season. That was literally in March.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So like, it's easy to like. If that was easier,
I'll call. So I'm calling FaZe a dynasty if they win one event in this game.
Maybe they are a dynasty right now, even without winning.
Doesn't feel like it. I think it's all that matters.
It doesn't feel like it, but at the same time, you think
OpTic
back.
Only won one
champs.
One champs.
Yeah, but it felt like they were a dynasty.
So we're going off of feels.
I mean,
and that was in that, and
somewhat.
Nowadays that's the olden days of COD. Now, I mean, AW is now the olden days of COD. That was 7 years ago.
Yeah, it gets harder and harder to get that title of dynasty.
Do we think it's harder?
It should be
easier to win multiple events.
Harder.
It should be harder now.
Should be harder, but I mean, like teams are becoming more and more like solidified, where it's like teams today would be called dynasties like 10 years ago because they stayed together more in a year.
The olden days.
I mean, back in the day, you had to qualify for you had to qualify at the beginning of the year through GB wins and all that stuff.
Once you're in the CDL, you're kind of just locked into those 12 teams, you know?
It's easier to be there, but it's harder to win on a LAN tournament. The 12 teams, that's tough. That's really tough to do. I don't know. But it was definitely a longer haul, but you also had more opportunities to win events. So it was like, well, if you lose an event, who cares? You know, back then it's like, there's 20 more in AW.
True.
Like, who cares?
I think you at least need to play in the same game, because at least with OpTic, Karma and Formal did play on that team in World War II, and they did play on that team in Black Ops 3.
Right. They played in 4 different games together.
I'm gonna say the FaZe, the 4 FaZe players are Dynasty right now.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, that was way too long.
2 years. RC's on the team 2 years, and they're Dynasty. 2 years
They
is our
won
measure.
2 champs.
They won 2 champs, but Celium wasn't on those champs teams. So all of a sudden,
Well, then
he's
he was on one
lumped
of
into
them,
this conversation.
And he was in the grand finals of the other one. It's just
and
messy.
he won one of them, but it wasn't. Oh, wait, I guess it was with RC's cool.
Nice.
Well, we
They
spent
won
the next
one
15 minutes on that one.
I don't know.
Or 10 minutes.
I'm
But
fine.
well,
Thanks,
Shift got us going. I mean, there's a good start to what we asked for, was to ask to get us arguing. So
Just
that's
asking for
how
it.
hot it gets. I'm really close, like I said. So one event. Okay. Well, real quick answer. We're just going to do rapid fire. If you'd
Yes.
rather have Shotzzy or Abezy for the next 5 years, who would you rather have?
Shotzzy.
Shotzzy.
Okay. Hugh, that was from Brian Witt. Hughes asks, in a world where there's a future expansion draft, what 2 players on each team would you protect from another team to draft? That's a little bit long. So he says, if you had to protect 2 teams from FaZe, LAG, OpTic, and Boston. So from FaZe,
Simp.
Simp and Cell.
I'd go Simp and Cell as well. LAG,
At this point,
Asim and
Hook. Asim and Hook. I don't know what Spart is yet. I just can't say Spart. I don't know what he is yet.
Yeah.
OpTic, I mean, Shotzzy Dashy.
Shotzzy and the number 6 player of all time. or Vanguard.
I mean, Scump will retire at some point.
Yeah, true.
What's yours for? Are you going to say Illy or Dashy?
I don't know. I was thinking Illy. Shotzzy Illy.
Okay.
Illy's got
Boston.
staying power.
Boston's interesting.
Boston, I would do.
Would you go Capsule Zinni?
I'd
Or
do
would you go Capsule Nero?
Capsule methods.
Oh, yeah, I'll go Capsule Zinni.
What are we doing again? We're protecting
Boston.
them?
2 guys.
Protecting 2
Yeah.
players for 5 years.
Oh, yeah. Capsule and...
Either Nero or Zinni. I mean, Tiege is fine. But
Yeah,
that's,
probably methods.
Okay. Okay. Good question. That was a good question from Hughes. Then Ark asks, who's the best looking of the best of 3?
Sam.
I'm going to go with
Rex.
Bold and Brash in the background.
Dude, 100%.
Yeah, nice. Let's
Squidward.
go. Things we love to see. 100%. Okay, so that was a banger question. Desma asks, if you compared yourself to regular sports analysts, who would each of you be? He's like, I think Nero is Skip Bayless.
Sure. I don't know any sports analysts.
I was going to say, it's unfortunate because me and Rex don't really know any sports.
No, yes, this is basically a
Sports?
question for me.
I
would
think
say I'm
Miles
Colin
DeRoss
Coward.
is an amazing commentator.
Amen. I'd call myself Colin Coward.
Yeah.
Sam's interesting. I don't really know who I'd call Sam. Maybe how about like a Kendrick Perkins? He just says things, Kendrick
Nice.
Perkins. Riot asks, do you think Gunless would be trying? Oh, we already kind of answered this. Do you think Gunless could be on NYSL or Rokkr?
Rokkr, probably. Yeah.
Who's more likely?
Rokkr.
For sure. And Hordes asks, why is Bash always hating on OpTic when he was horny for Formy for a whole year?
Here's the thing. I was open about this too. Was that I wanted Formal on a different team. I didn't want him on OpTic. And so I was horny for Formy. I was not horny for OpTic. There's a difference.
he was truly always horny for Formy. And that he was more true to horny for Formy than anyone. I mean,
yeah.
He didn't have his loyalty to OpTic. It was just his loyalty was being horny
It
for
was
Formy.
just for me. And and I'm not an OpTic hater.
No.
I am more so.
You're a realist.
I'm taming the hype.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
You
That's
have to.
But it was unfortunate that you tamed the hype right before they won Major 1. That was what was unfortunate.
That was rough.
Uh-huh. That was unfortunate.
That was rough.
Well, oh my, Grizz is coming out with the fire takes. Grizz asks, who has the worst takes on the pod and why is it Rex?
I think Josh does.
I'm on hype beast.
I don't have the worst takes.
You have the hottest takes.
I have great takes. I have the truth.
That's fair.
Control is the worst game mode, and it should be
Fair enough.
removed.
This was a common question, but I'll give credit to PD, but I think a lot of people kind of asked a similar question. Controversial take. It's more of a statement, but kind of the question. Anyone who says OpTic has changed this year is not seeing what has happened. Just like other years, win the event of the first event of the year, be a top team, but then never win another major, and then end off third place at champs. Basically saying that's what's going to happen this year.
I disagree. I think OpTic's going to be good, and I think they could go to champs and win it.
I think I will be shocked if they're not in another grand final. Shocked.
Wait, no, this year feels different. I mean, how many times have we said that?
They should be back in a grand final.
But I think
will they win one? Harder to say sometimes, but like,
yeah. It goes to show too, like FaZe 2 is like, man, FaZe hasn't. It's weird. Would you? I probably shouldn't derail it too much, but would you rather?
Who do you have more faith getting to a grand final in the rest of the year?
Yeah,
FaZe or OpTic?
FaZe or OpTic? Honestly, FaZe. No,
right now OpTic for me.
Maybe
really?
OpTic. Would you
I'd
rather
say
win
FaZe.
one?
I mean, FaZe were playing bad COD in stage 2, and they made it to the grand final.
Yeah, but so was OpTic. But they
didn't make it to a grand final.
But they were still playing bad COD. Like OpTic's better.
But they didn't make it to a grand final.
I thought Akes's tweet too was interesting about the whole like, would you rather be second, or would you rather be first and then get sixth? You know,
I'd rather be second. I think because it just shows consistency, and you want to at bats.
Basically saying, would you rather get first in tournament,
and then
get sixth, or get second? And
I'd rather get second.
100% probably second.
It's
because
like
I want chance. I mean, like,
but
it means you can repeat that potential, and it's like,
it's kind of a stupid question.
You don't want to be Rokkr. You don't want to be Rokkr.
No,
Rokkr's
one hit wonder.
Yeah,
like it's just a stupid question, sort of, because like, if you know you're gonna lose in the grand finals, well, yeah, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you want the at bat in the grand finals. You want the chance.
Yeah,
like I'm taking 2 chances. I mean, but it's just dumb because like obviously you'd rather win than not win.
That's true.
So, that's fair. Good question though. Pork Rind asks, are OpTic actually a villain? Building an all-star team now, combining forces with Envy. Are they the villains of the CDL? I mean, it doesn't feel like that.
You know, I see where he's coming from, but after some recent comments from a few weeks ago, I disagree. The OpTic mob comes out hard. They do, bro.
When you don't rank an OpTic player in the top 10.
When you put OpTic in the top 10, it's like, be prepared to have a new butthole. Like,
a wider one.
Sometimes, man, it's like, geez.
No, yeah, it gets wild.
They are aggressive.
That's why I respect Akes is just brash and bold.
Brash and bold.
So Halfclip asks,
H.
what? Amen. Halfclip asks, what are the most important roles in Hardpoint, or like, what's the most important job around the map?
Entry sub.
I mean, again, I just don't. The roles are so different in this game. It's like there's barely anyone.
Whoever gets spawns. That's the most important.
It's map control. At the end of the day, it's a cop-out answer because map control means like pushing out for map control, but also maintaining spawn control.
I mean,
that's the most important part of Hardpoint.
I think we've seen like the teams that can break the hill, which I get what you're saying. Like there isn't really a one person to do it, but typically there's one person leading the pack. I don't know. I feel like if you can break, like London being able to break multiple hills wins them games, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. But also it's the reason why they lose games.
True.
And why they're
it's just like FaZe in Modern Warfare. They can break all the hills, and that's how they're winning, but that's not a recipe for success when it comes to champs time. Defense wins.
I guess I'm just trying to think of specific roles though, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's just more about the jobs around the map. I mean, like, I would say it's a job that everyone has to do at a time. The roles are just weird in this game. It's not even as die cut as it was even last year in Cold War.
I think it's
much more fluent.
I think I don't know if that'd be the route man but it's the person who's trying to manipulate
the first person to rotate.
You're fast. Yeah. First person to rotate, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. So this is an interesting one. Why haven't you guys seen every season of Survivor? That's a great question. I have never seen Survivor ever. I've never watched any season of Survivor.
I remember clips of it when I was
This is from
younger.
Rogue Shadow, and also, I mean, Rogue Shadow He knows what he wants me to say. I know what he wants me to say. He wants me to shout out Chick-fil-A barbecue sauce on pizza is what he wants me to shout out.
The heck?
It's his go-to meal.
So specifically Chick-fil-A barbecue sauce.
We talk about it in stream all the time. Yeah.
On any pizza or on specific pizza?
Any pizza.
What?
Yeah. It's tough. I don't think I agree with him on that.
Pineapple pizza though, it's good.
Yeah, it is tough. Samurai asked, what's your favorite CDL hoodie or like best like clothing item that CDL puts out? I think it might be. I like Florida's a lot. I also like the Rokkrs.
Florida stuff is nice, dude.
Yeah,
I like
it's
Florida's.
Really. Also the Ultras, like all like white one with that one's really nice. I like the Ultras a lot. Rex, what's your answer? Best like clothing item?
I can't think of them all in my head, but I think New York subliners are pretty dope.
Okay.
I mean, I have some, but I honestly think they're clothing.
No.
Don't put on your brown sack, bro. Come on.
The black with the red contrast or the yellow contrast is really clean for sure. Yeah. Also, fun fact, Bash is colorblind, so he doesn't have any good opinions on colors.
He doesn't even know what color headset he's wearing.
It's blue, bro. Come on.
Much love to all colorblind brethren out there. No doubt.
No doubt.
Fun fact, Sam found out in math class that he was blind.
I did. That was unfortunate.
Or that he was colorblind.
Yeah,
he didn't know it till high school.
I thought everyone was like playing a prank. I'm like, you can't see that. And they're like, no, it's right there. I'm like,
because our math teacher put up one of those like colorblind tests,
like circle things.
Yeah,
and there's like a number in the middle of it, and everyone's like, you can see that, right? I'm like, there's no number there.
You're like, you're playing a prank on me. Is what Sam thought was happening.
It's like, no, there's a number there. I'm like, oh crap.
Wow, you had no idea you were colorblind?
I didn't know.
No, yeah, it's crazy. It was insane. I was like mind blown.
I guess my colors are just so dull. Like I can distinguish colors, but it's just, I guess, just super dull.
So you lived like, sometimes I used to think, I'm like, man, do people see the colors the way I see colors? Because like you can't describe red.
Yeah.
No.
Apparently I don't. So I'm missing out on something.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild.
But you were sort of like, oh, I am like, people do not see this the same way as me. But you see it in a way. You see red in a way I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So there's colorblind. So this is an interesting one. This is a hot take. PJ's asked, who's the worst player in COD history at the pro level? Which is weird because the worst player probably only plays for like a few weeks.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you even like quantify this.
I think I know what everyone would want to say, but
JCap in Modern Warfare, 100%.
That was pretty terrible.
JCap Modern Warfare.
Let's just do CDL because I think all time it's like impossible to like quantify. Like, do you play one tournament and then you're like worst player ever?
You'd hear some Pac-Man ones in there.
Yeah, that's fair.
He was good in COD 4 Modern Warfare.
In the CDL though, specifically.
In the CDL,
COD 4 was so.
I mean, bro, that's the crazy thing is that Spart at the beginning of Modern Warfare was horrible.
Yeah, it was rough.
Who else was on that team? Spart.
Well, at different times they had Decimate and Blast and
Blast.
Saints and Aches and
Lacefield.
Yeah, that was a weird roster. Oh my word. Yeah, so I don't know. That's one. I mean, Aches, that was really bad.
That was rough from him. Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It probably had to be the LAG. I think it had to be someone on the LAG Modern Warfare. Like they had such like. Seattle Surge was terrible, and they were beating them every single time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So probably either Lace or Aches, honestly. How many times can I say honestly?
I mean,
Lacefield had his moments. Aches had his moments.
Could it be mental? Could it be mental?
Oh, shoot.
Last year?
Probably. Yeah.
Dude, that was really bad. That was really bad.
Oh,
I forgot about that, dude.
That was really bad.
Not the mental from Spain, but the mental from
Gears.
Yeah. Oh, that's Metals, right?
Metals.
I don't know.
No, Metals is from
Metals. The Gears. Ooh, you're right. He was pretty bad.
That was
Who's
pretty
now
bad.
Playing Halo now.
He was so atrocious.
Interesting. This is from In the AM Gaming. With the league trying to make strides to be more like actual pro sports and more professional, do you think that conferences like the NFL or MLB or NBA having like West or East or something along those lines would make sense?
Not for a while, at least. Not within the next 10 years.
Did Overwatch do that?
When Corona hit, it was like, you had your Asia, your Europe, and League does it now, but League has like 1 million teams.
Yeah.
So
Would you want to have
No.
like an East-West where like,
No.
you have like a FaZe versus OpTic that play a little bit more, maybe one time more per year than other teams because they're near each other?
No.
you need a lot more teams.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind it.
You need a lot more teams.
Yeah, I think if you had 16 teams or maybe 20, you can make it work. But I think with 12, it's just not enough. So I'm with you there.
I'm still boomer. I want free everything, like open
Tourneys
all
only.
tourneys only.
Boomer. Unreal. So the last few questions here, a few from YouTube as well. A lot of them on YouTube were very similar to some of like the conversations we had with ROSTERMANIA. This is from RYXN on YouTube. He says, what player trade would make the most sense, player for player? If you could swap one player on two different teams in the CDL, who would you swap?
Mhm.
Part of me wants to say Skies and Paul X. If it's like doing like a pretty decent
really?
trade. I mean, Paul X might be a little like, I might be overrating him or giving him too much credit too
Yeah,
fast.
Like,
But-
I can see but the narrative is splitting up Awakening and Skies to see what happens.
Putting
Like, that's
Paul
kinda the
X
narrative.
there and then
Yeah.
Skies on
I could
Silverline,
see
kinda
it.
fits.
Yeah, I could see that. Sam, do you have a good idea coming to your mind?
Trying to think of what would be beneficial for both.
What about this? Bance for Vivid.
No shot.
It's a weird one.
Dude, sorry, Vivid, but I don't know. I'm just not very high on Vivid.
I mean, Bance has been terrible this stage 2 as well.
But I've seen Bance be good. Vivid, haven't really
I
seen.
mean, we saw Vivid be good in stage 4 last year, but I don't know. I think that one's interesting. Like one was basically from New Dark Age on YouTube was like, let's be honest, Dom is better than Control. Rex,
Ooh.
I want to hear your thoughts on this.
I don't agree with that. I don't think I agree with that.
I think if you like change I think there's a way to tweak Dom to make it a little bit more competitive. Like Modern Warfare, the first I don't know what it is.
The
Something
reason-
about
Yeah, I
Dom
don't-
was terrible in competitive. It's never worked and it's never been that interesting.
Well, it's just the whole 3 flags and the amount of players on the map thing. Like it's just hard to make that work.
Yeah.
But Control, don't get me wrong, Control is a terrible game mode. But I think Control's probably better than Dom.
And then the last few questions here that were kind of pretty common from YouTube and a few other Twitter ones was hot fire question, who's the best player in the game right now? If you had to choose one player, say best player in the game, who is it? I'd go Shotzzy.
Shots.
Yeah, probably Shotzzy.
Who's second? Dashy or Celium?
Celium.
I'd go Celium as well. Build your Vanguard God squad with only one player from any given team.
What was
One player from each team.
One Vanguard God squad, but you can only have one player from any given team.
Okay, Shotzzy, Celium, Hydra, and Zero.
What? Weird one. That's also fair.
What do you mean weird one?
So that's just a weird like chemistry
Gizmo.
combination.
Gizmo instead of Zero.
As a main AR? Interesting. I can't believe you didn't go with Afro. I feel like that's just like too on brand for you.
Yeah, I know.
We're making
I kind of got let down a little bit.
You go.
Okay, I'm gonna go Shotzzy Simp, and then Flex is interesting
I need a list of players.
because like the Flex is tough because then you're like, okay, who's the next best Flex on the team? I'd be interested to see like what like a Skies could do on a team like that. That'd be
Bro.
interesting. Do you go Sib or Gizmo or Attach or someone like that, or Temp, someone like that? I'll go have a little fun with it. I'll go Shotzzy, Simp, Skies. No, see, this is the problem. I think you can only have one of Simp and Shotzzy because you want another one of these SMGs. Celium at main AR. Yeah, Celium at main AR. Skies flexes. Shotzzy SMG, and then we'll pair him with Hydra. Rex,
Okay.
So I'll do Shotzzy, Simp, Hydra, and Dash or methods.
My word.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. And the final question here from John.
Screw that Gizmo. I want Gizmo.
Fair enough.
Nice.
Who survives the longest out of all three of us on a zombie in a zombie apocalypse? And this is crucial because this is also our best of 3 or our intelligent or irrelevant. So let's get right into intelligent or irrelevant.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
All right, Sam. What's our question
All right.
today?
Here we go. ties into the last Q&A question.
Yes.
Which one of us three survives the longest in a zombie apocalypse?
Okay, I'm surviving the longest in a zombie apocalypse, and it's not
what
close.
Facts?
Bro,
You don't leave your room.
Exactly. I'm prepared mentally for the zombie apocalypse.
They come into your room. What do you do?
None of us were in Boy Scouts.
Where do you relocate?
Montana. Middle of nowhere, in the hills.
Bro,
The zombies can't climb uphill.
I have to fend for 3 zombie-like children constantly wanting food. I have to rally them around. You know what I mean?
Babe.
I may have just compared my kids to zombies.
Did you just call us a babe?
Sam,
Babe?
those children are going to be the death of you in a zombie apocalypse.
That's facts. That's
Oh, no.
facts. That's facts. Because you have to take care of the family, which means that you can't leave them
You
behind.
are so
Look, and Rex is married. I am the one surviving. I can go anywhere. The second that there's even the sign of disaster, I'm out. I'm already in Montana in a log cabin in the middle of nowhere with 18 guns and a trench dug around the thing filled with lava. Like, this thing it's over. And I've already have a windmill built and a mill in the river next to me. Like, this is over.
Yeah, how
I've
are
already
you
got
building that
electricity.
windmill by yourself
I went to the library before I drove to
in
Montana.
a short amount of time? Here's the thing with me in my situation. At least I have a partner that like
You
we'll
live
both
in
be
New
able to
York.
doing stuff.
You're dead.
You're gone.
Oh, we would leave. We would get out of New York.
But that's the problem. You won't be able to get out of New
can't.
York. You're dead.
You say that, but the New York subway system is full of
I
many
don't know.
surprises.
None of us really, I don't think any of us have any X factors in like survival skills, or do we feel like any of us have an advantage in those regards?
I used to have a
think-
YouTube channel where I did survival stuff, but
That's
that's never sharing it.
So
But
When
it's
I
out
was-
there.
Wait,
When I was
what?
really young, yeah.
No way. I have watched like every season of Man vs. Wild. Oi,
Can I
we're
tell
in
my
the
story?
jungle. No.
when I was a sophomore in high school,
Classic.
I thought about becoming a state trooper. And so I went to trooper school for a week. And this is a true story. Guess who got the best marksman in the class?
Bash?
Your boy.
Dude.
Oh, wow.
That's
Okay.
crazy. I didn't know you shot a gun before.
I have.
Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
No,
That
no,
would
I'm
be
just
the X
saying.
factor there. Okay, that's a good X factor.
I'm just saying.
Man, I mean, I'm very confident in my. I mean, I've watched every season of The Walking Dead. I've watched World War Z.
But see, that's the thing. I think you think this fiction is a reality when, in terms, zombie apocalypse can hit you like a train. It ain't no Walking Dead. It ain't no Man vs. Wild. It's real life.
Yeah.
It's.
I mean, who's the most willing out of all of us to take a man's life? Because I think it's me.
That's what it comes down to.
Never hang out with Josh one-on-one ever again.
It's like, all right, this is what it comes down to. Who's willing to kill?
Because I am.
Trust me.
Because I
Trust
am
me,
ready.
I am, man.
I've done it like 5 times already.
Dude, I take
Like the
pre-workout.
Hunger Games.
Yeah. No, I mean, actually, who do you think the people voted for is the real question. I bet they
think
voted for Rex.
I was going to say, I almost guarantee you it's Rex.
Yeah, but I'm voting for myself because obviously.
Yeah, I'm
What
gonna
the
vote for Sam.
hell?
Oh,
This is the absolute crap.
61.
62% voted for Rex. This is
Wow.
crap.
Josh,
This is
20%,
rigged.
and Sam 17%.
This is the most
wow.
unintelligent poll we've ever had.
Just
I
love
think
how
it's probably
like
the most intelligent one.
few like so far ahead. This is like by far the most contrasting.
Unreal.
Dang. All right.
Wow.
Thanks, guys. Let's read the comments.
This podcast is over.
And I think we should. Wait, we always
actually,
read the comments.
I am
Yeah.
interested to hear it's okay. Read the comments. I haven't
Shift's
looked at
comment
them.
here first. Gotta be Rex and it isn't close. Sam, as wise as he is, would be too helpful and end up getting backstabbed by other survivors.
Yes, that's so true. You would
John-
absolutely get backstabbed.
That's probably true. Josh would end up making a leadership choice that gets everyone killed. But Rex, the man, would be as ruthless in real life as his hot and loose CDL ticks.
You ever seen a man get stapled in the forehead?
He has been using that stapler all episode.
Oh man!
I think it's out of staples now.
Jonathan says, Rex, easy. To be honest, I feel like he would do something so stupid it will keep him alive.
Like he'll like manually try to like create a robotic arm. Like he'll be like giving himself surgery.
But then
trying
I
to
throw
give
it
him
in anger and just explodes and kills a mob of zombies. Oh shit, that worked out.
We have Desma saying, Rex would die protecting his Clayster shrine. Josh would get exhausted because he won't take off his hoodie. Sam has that good old dad strength.
Funny.
Yes.
Oh my
get near his
word.
family.
Wow,
John,
that
that's my
is
question.
something.
Woo, but Rex.
Oh man.
JD Biscuit, Sam the sleeper pick. Yes, sir. Scoopsy says, not only would Rex survive, he would be the leader of the survivor colony. He has a way with words that commands respect.
I could see a world where like Rex is the leader of the people who like live in the trash. Like they live like in the trash dump.
No
shot. He has created a community of like unbelievable savages who like survive off of like gladiator warfare against each other.
You call it a trash dump. I call it home.
Exactly.
Reason it's
I
trash
could
'cause
see
no
something
zombies
along
are
those
there.
lines. Like if you lost you have nothing left to lose, and then suddenly you're living in a trash like dump, and you have a colony of like 500 people behind you. Like that could,
But no
and they
zombies.
worship you. You're like the cult leader. Like I could see that being a thing. So there it is, boys.
There it is.
I was gonna make a joke, but I was like, that's probably too dark. Right?
Just don't drink the Kool-Aid. Just do not drink the Kool-Aid. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of the Best of 3 podcast. It ended up being longer than I thought. I mean, I thought this could be a short one today, but
fun.
We'll go back to like a lot of COD talk again next week, and catching up on the Pro-Am, and maybe the Warzone tournament ends up being fun. Who knows? Drop all your comments down below, and we appreciate you guys for watching. And as always, I'm Josh. Obviously, to my right was back. It's going to be 3 part right per usual was Rex, Shady, Nero, and guys, we will see you next time. We out.